CO2 lasers are really versatile. You can engrave and cut lots of things, but you can actually engrave stone. And a lot of stone engravings you see are probably done on a CO2 laser. I have a little piece of gravel here that I'd like to turn into a pendant and add a little custom engraving onto it, and I'm just going to do that real quick with the CO2 laser. So I'm using Lightburn, which is a pretty common laser cutting software. I'm using it on a Boss laser cutter, and this is just a ping file that I extracted from an image. I used Inkscape to trace the bitmap, and then I exported the ping, and I just have the outline. It's a heart with some text in it. So I got that sized, I have it set as an image, and I'm going to change the feeds and speeds here to what we want. I went to Boss Laser's website, and they said for engraving stone, it says, you can see up top, CO2 laser rastering stone, started around 30% power at 500 millimeters a second. So that's what I'm going to start at and see how it does. I have a few test pieces I'm going to run first, but if it turns out good, I might end up using it. Now, it might differ a little bit here depending on what software you're going to use, but I'll click on my cut. This is cut 0, and it has your speed and power right there, and you can adjust them right here in these drop downs. So the speed is already at 500 millimeters a second, but I'm going to change the max power to 30. And I'm also just going to set the minimum power to 30, just because I want it to stay right at 30%. I'll hit the frame button here so it frames the outline of where the engraving is going to be and make sure everything's lined up. We'll close it up and give it a try. Now you can see on the back of it, it's a little hard to read. Now it's not that the text was very clear in the first place, but initially just looking at it, I think the speed's a little high. I think the feeds and speeds they gave you are more for a large sheet, like if you're engraving a gravestone or a headstone or something like that. This is super small, and that's pretty fine detail to be running at 500 millimeters a second. I'm going to try bumping it down to maybe 300 or 200 and see if that makes a difference. Flip it over, and I'll do it on the other side. I'm going to change the max speed to 200 and see what kind of difference that makes. And I ran into another problem. I had way too much air pressure there, so it just moved the rock all over the place, so that didn't work either. Now I'm going to bump it down to 150. Engraving this detailed on such a small piece is tricky, and especially it's new for me on stone and this small. So I'm going to go a little slower, so hopefully I can get more detail. I'm going to keep the power the same. So that's definitely a deeper engraving, shows up a little bit more. I wouldn't say it's more detailed, but I think we're also pushing the limits of the laser. I'll do another pass to make it a little deeper and see how that looks. After the second pass, I'd say it looks a little bit deeper. And that's a little deeper on the third pass. These laser lenses for CO2 are made out of zinc selenide. That's kind of a cool process. They're actually grown and then machined, lapped, and then there's a coating that's put on them, and there's different kinds of coatings, but they're just kind of cool. Cool process for how they're made. And I think, we're looking about the same on the fourth pass, maybe a little different. Since I know I want to do a few more passes, I can change the pass count right here. I'm going to bump it up to 3, so it'll just do 3 consecutive passes, one right after each other. Now the text there is certainly gotten pretty deep, and the outline of the heart is as well. Now, what I expected is I think I'm losing a little bit of resolution, but that's of course what I expected. I wasn't expecting it to stay super crisp as I go deeper. Now let's do 6 more passes. I'm just wanting to see what changes as I add more pass counts. And that's gotten quite a bit deeper, and actually looking at it now, maybe a little bit more readable. And we'll run it another 6. Now you can see we got quite a bit of depth on there, especially in the text there. It goes real deep in there. That's pretty cool. That's as far as I'm going to take it, so I can pick it up. And that's pretty cool.